Welcome once again to my YouTube channel, Micro Teaching English. I am Shubhashish Bandyopadhyay before you. Today I have decided to send for you another video on one of the greatest poems in English literature, The Daffodils by William Wordsworth. Daffodils has been written by William Wordsworth actually just after his brother's death. The name of his brother is Christopher Wordsworth, as he along with his sister Dorothy or Dora had been moving about in the Lake City, in the Lake District of Lincolnshire. They found a host of daffodils, and that vista of daffodils given birth to the poem. Today I have decided to discuss not only the poem but also its figures of speech, for which it is well known. Let's call it the figures of speech used in The Daffodils by William Wordsworth. You must be wondering what is exactly the figure of speech is. The figure of speech actually is the part that deals with the beauty of the language. If we think of the correctness of the language, we call it the grammatical aspect. If we take out the grammatical aspect from a sentence, which remains is the rhetoric or figures of speech. Rhetoric, as the word reveals itself, is the art of an orator. The word has its Greek coinage. Naturally, the orator has mastered on such aestheticism and has came to be known as rhetoric or figures of speech. In the poem, the poet describes that he had been wandering lonely as a cloud. This brings about the simile. Simile, you know, has been coined from Latin similes or similar, which means the same one. It brings about the comparison of the poet's wandering, and it can be called simile because he had been wandering lonely as a cloud. You must know that the words that is brought in the comparison of different entities, distinctly different entities, by means of words, namely like, as, so, similarly, likewise, then the comparison is called to be simile. Here we have simile. Again, we can find it that sparkles that in the Milky Way. This also is another example of simile. Again, we have another one which can be called exaggeration. Exaggeration, you know, it is the magnification of the reality in figure of speech and is known to be exaggeration. The example is 10,000 saw I at a glance. Here the poet did not count it, yet he called it 10,000. Here the exaggeration is there. Again, we have metaphor when the poet relates that the vista of daffodils flash in his inward eye. As we see through our eyes, in the same manner it flashes in his inward eye. In that case, the implicit analogy has been brought about and can be called a metaphor, and it is used in this line. We have exaggeration beside the lake and beneath the trees. Here the alliteration in the use of be can be noted. The repetition of the same letter, particularly if it is consonant, it is known as consonance, and if it is of vowels, then it will be called assonance. Here we have consonance or alliteration in the use of beneath and beside. There are several other figures of speech. The student may ask me for them. Well, another point can be pointed out, that is personification. The sprightly dance of the daffodils, their fluttering and dancing are personification. Personification, you know, it is the attribution of personal qualities to inanimate things or beings. Here, the petals of the daffodils dances in the breeze, just like a dancer. In that case, that personal quality has been attributed to them. There is also polysyndeton in the use of and. In the end part of the poem, you will find polysyndeton. That is very nice, as it is in the use of and several times. You will find and in the third stanza of the poem, and that will be called polysyndeton in the use of repetition of and. Poly means many, syndeton is the use of conjunction and. So these were the figures of speech you will find in Daffodils by William Wordsworth. You know, Daffodil is a poem that has been born out of the lamentation of a brother and has been turned out into an excellent poem. You will go through it and find out what excesses, poetic excesses are there, like rhetoric and what not. The beauty of the language is rhetoric, and that is very true and applicable to the poem Daffodils by William Wordsworth. Thank you, my students. You will surely ask me if you have any kind of query about the poem, and surely like and subscribe as you have been all these days and pushed my subscription beyond 200. Thank you all. Have a nice day.